Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So last Sunday in my stream on Hurricane Hill, I asked you guys what kind of video you wanted to see for today. And a lot of people, and I'm telling you, a lot of people asked me to do another training video. So that is exactly what I'll be doing today. In this video, I'm going to do a story time about how I broke both of my legs, and I'm also going to talk about some other exciting stuff. So if you're interested in those topics, then make sure you keep on watching. And then now, without any further ado, let's just jump straight into it. So I think that for today, I'm going to start out with the Drew training here in Valedale, and then we'll move on to the races, because I've been doing very bad when it comes to doing my Drew training daily. I'm only at 50k or something like that, so we're going to do Drew training and try to keep up with it from now on, okay? That's a promise. And then here we are, and as you can see, I'm at 53k, so I'm not exactly there yet where I can get the horse. I have seen people getting the horse already, which is insane. If you have the horse, let me know by commenting a horse emoji down below. Would love to see all those comments flowing in. By the way, I'm also riding my Dark Bay English Thoroughbred called Quick Time today. I really love this horse. Like, I did not expect to love this coat so much, but I do. It is so stunning, and I am gonna do the training quests right now, and then we're gonna move on to missions. So let's start out with my story time about how I broke both my legs. First off, I want to say I am not in a cast or in a wheelchair or whatsoever right now. I was 6 years ago. 6 years ago, I took some of my first skiing lessons over here in Belgium because we were going to go on a skiing trip to Austria, actually. You know, we arrived in Austria, we got to our hotel, it was very beautiful, we played a little bit in the snow, and then the next day, which was a Monday, the first day of skiing, it all went south. I thought, oh, I can ski this. This is kind of easy. It was a blue skiing slope, and I thought this is going to be easy. I can do this. So I took the skiing lift, I guess you can call them, to the top of the slope, and my initial plan was to just ski down the ski slope, but in turns. So from one side of the skiing slope to the other one, so that I wouldn't go too fast because I still was kind of scared, even though the skiing lessons in Belgium went really well. I was still really scared, so I tried to go in turns. Now the thing I didn't know is that the snow was not really snow, it was actually more ice, so I was having a lot of issues with controlling my entire body and my skis and everything. So at some point the turns started to become quicker and quicker and quicker, and at some point I just went straight down, and I couldn't stop because it wasn't snow, it was ice, and you glide over ice, right? So I tried to sit down, and that didn't work because of course it's ice, you still slide, and I was so desperate at that point. I looked forward, I saw a wooden wall, I screamed my mom's name, and I will never forget this, and I'll explain this in a second, but I screamed my mom's name. Everyone was looking at me, and I ran into that wooden wall like crazy hard. I got like shot back more than 2 meters, and then I just laid still. Apparently I passed out for about 20 minutes, and I didn't realize this because I woke up, I was laying on my back, I didn't know what happened. I couldn't remember it because I did have a slight concussion after that, nothing bad or anything. It was the legs. I didn't feel my legs, and I was so scared. I asked my mom, will I still be able to ride horses because I don't feel my legs? Now, she stayed relatively calm, and she told me, we don't know what happened yet. We don't know what's happened to your legs. We've called an ambulance. The ambulance is on its way. Now, I wanted to turn around, and my mom was like, no, you can't turn around. But the stubborn me that I am, I'm such a stubborn person, like it's actually crazy. I wanted to turn around. I wanted to turn around and lay on my stomach because I wasn't laying there comfortably. And I tried to turn around with both my legs both being broken, and I succeeded. Breaking your legs doesn't hurt that much, or at least in my experience, it really didn't hurt that much. So I was able to turn around, and I laid there on my stomach with my hands under my head, and I tried to like lay down for a second because I was feeling nauseous and all that, and then the ambulance arrived. I was moved to the nearest hospital, and that was a half-an-hour drive. So I was in the ambulance for half an hour. They also gave me a shot of like this blood thinner thingy so that I wouldn't wouldn't get any blood clumps because of course both of my legs were, I'm not sure what this is called in English, I need to look it up. Now, I don't think Google Translate is accurate here, so basically they tried to stabilize my leg, right? So that the fracture wouldn't move too much. And when I arrived in the hospital, believe it or not, it took them 2 hours to take pictures of my legs. And also, fun fact, I do have a screw in my skull, and that's because I'm half deaf and my inner ear is totally broken on the left side, so that's a whole thingy over there. And they took pictures and this guy was like, can you take out your earring? But it was the screw. So I was like, I have a screw in my head, and he looked at me like, are you crazy? And I will always remember that. That was the most funny moment in that entire hospital. The rest wasn't as funny. So they took pictures of my legs. They saw that both of them were broken. In my left leg, it was the big bone, and in my right leg, it was the smaller bone. The smaller bone wasn't completely over. It wasn't completely broken. However, it was fractured. And yeah, when they told me that, believe it or not, but I got so sad and I started crying and I was like, this can't be happening. Now, luckily, they did tell me that they didn't have to operate on my legs because they were in a pretty good position. Oh my god, why did I just take the trailer to Dundle? I should have taken it to Berks Grange. I'm so stupid. Oh my god, I'm not paying attention because I'm trying to focus on the story. It's quite a long story, so I hope you're in for a longer video. Anyway, so they didn't have to do any surgery or anything like that, and after that, I was moved to my room. Now, that is where the terror started. I don't know if anyone else has experienced this, but when I had my cast on, because they did put a cast on when I just got to the hospital before my pictures, it was an open cast, and for some reason, my left leg, which was the one that was completely broken, like the bigger bone, I'm not sure what it's called. I need to look it up. I need to look up so much because all this vocabulary, I can't do it. Google Translate says it's my tibia, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. That leg started burning so much. That was so painful, like I can't even describe it to you. I called the nurse that same day like 5 times because it was burning so much and I wanted a fresh pack of ice on it. Ice was my literal savior during those 4 days of being in the hospital on my skiing trip. I also remember calling the nurse at 2 a.m. for ice cream because I wanted ice cream. My aunt, my uncle, and my 3 cousins were also with us, and I think my grandparents were there too, and they brought me this big bag of candy, which I love them for it. I'm a huge sucker for candy and anything sweet, so I loved them so much for that. But I called the nurse at 2 at night for ice cream, which is also a moment I'll never forget. They came, like they actually came to bring me ice cream, and I was so happy, like I can't explain it to you. And that is basically how I stayed in the hospital for 3 more days after that Monday. I couldn't sleep at night because my leg hurt really badly the first 2 nights, so I couldn't really sleep that well. On Thursday, they actually told me I was allowed to leave the hospital and go back to my hotel. Now, I was in a wheelchair, of course. I couldn't walk on either of my legs, so I was in a wheelchair, and the issue was our room was on the highest floor and there was no elevator. So we had to drag my wheelchair up the stairs every single time I wanted to go from the cafeteria, the restaurant, to my room. We stayed in Austria for a week, so on Sunday I was actually flown back with a plane from Austria to Belgium, Antwerp, because I couldn't sit in the car. We are with 4 in our family, so we didn't have enough space for me to lay my legs on the back seat. So with my mom, I flew back in a plane to Austria, and I'm gonna explain how I laid there, and it was crazy. So they dragged me into the plane without my wheelchair and all, and they laid me down on this bed in the plane, and they completely tied me down. Like, I was laying there, and also I hate flying by plane because my ears can't take it. It's super hurtful to my ears. And I was laying down, and they gave me this candy to chew on so that the pressure would go off of my ears. But laying down, it was even worse than I remember from the first time. Like, oh my god, I hate flying so much, and laying down and not even being able to look out the window was absolutely terrifying. I did get some food. on the plane too. It was only like a 1.5 hour flight, so it wasn't that long, but still, it was terrifying. I hate flying. When I got back to Belgium with my mom, I was put in an ambulance again, and that ambulance drove me back home. Now from Antwerp to my house is actually an hour drive, so it was even longer than the ambulance drive back in Austria, and I hated it because I had to take another blood thinner, and those actually really hurt. I did not expect that. They kind of hurt. I mean, you have to like squeeze some of your tummy fat together and then put the needle in, and it's just really hurtful. Like, it burned. I don't know why, but it burned. And I had to take multiple of those when I was in the hospital, when I was back in my hotel before the flight, everything. So please don't break your legs because you'll have to take blood thinners and it hurts. Actually, no, just don't break your legs in general. Like, don't do that. Anyway, moving on with my story. So I got a wheelchair from someone in my family. I don't remember who it was. Now, for the most part, during the upcoming few weeks, I would just sit in the sofa and just chill out there chatting with some people. I didn't have to go to school because I couldn't really go with my wheelchair, and my legs still hurt way too much for me to go to school, so I didn't go to school for a few weeks. And then after a few weeks, I was actually able to go back to school. Now, that was a terrible experience too, because getting around with a wheelchair is actually not that easy. I mean, it's fun to sit in the wheelchair for like 5 minutes, but it's not fun to sit in it for 12 weeks because I did have to have my cast on for 12 weeks. The cast I had on my left leg actually came up to my hips, so I couldn't move my left leg whatsoever, and my right one had a cast on till my knee, so knee height, which I could move that one, but I couldn't stand on it either. So getting around and going about my day, showering also really wasn't that easy. And looking back now, I actually think it's quite a funny experience, even though back in the day, it really wasn't that funny because, like I said, I had to be in a cast for 12 weeks, 6 weeks with my full cast, then another 6 weeks with a half cast, and on my right leg, I only had to have a half cast on for 6 weeks, but still, it was kind of traumatizing, but now looking back, it's kind of funny, so don't worry if you're going through something similar. Now, I actually didn't have to rehabilitate after both casts came off, which was pretty impressive. I could bend my knee a few hours after the full cast came off because bending my knee when the full cast first came off was so painful. It was incredibly painful. You don't want to experience that. Oh, I see some moss. Let's pick it up because I pick up my flowers just, you know, when I see them right now. I'm actually not really going on flower hunts, so I'm not doing too great at those quests either. But anyway, like I said, I did not have to rehabilitate. Also, during those 12 weeks, I couldn't ride either, and after both casts came off, I went back to riding pretty soon. Of course, I still had to get used to everything, so, you know, I couldn't ride the day after my casts came off, like with my wrist or anything like that. I have a video on how I broke my wrist, by the way, so if you want to watch that, you always can. It's in the upper right corner. I don't know why I make so many story times about me breaking bones. It's just fun to talk about. If you guys have any stories that you want to share with me, it doesn't necessarily have to be a story where you break something. If you just have a really impressive story, then you can always go ahead and comment it down below. I will be in the comments for the upcoming few days. Would love to read your stories. And that is basically the entire story about how I broke both my legs. It wasn't that fun of an experience in the moment, but honestly, looking back, I kind of laugh at it. It's something I'm glad that happened because you really learn what it is like for people who literally have to stay in a wheelchair their entire life, and I feel so bad for them because that really wasn't a fun experience whatsoever, and you learn a lot about how other people live too, and it was just a very educating experience. And that was basically the entire story on how I broke both of my legs. Now, like I said, if you have a story like this that you want to share with me, you can always leave a comment down below. And then now let's move on to some live streaming news. I have decided that for the rest of the summer, so until September 21st, I'm gonna do a live stream every single Sunday. In the comments under this video, I also want you to comment a server I should come to. So far, I already have on my list Night Sprinkles, Unicorn Forest, and Firestar and Magnolia Jungle. So those two in one live stream. If you have any other suggestions, maybe an East European server, leave them down below and I may come to your server very soon. I'm really excited to be live streaming more often because I think it's such a fun experience, and especially after fixing my lag problem on my PC, I am so happy to be streaming again, and I'm gonna do it weekly from now on. I'm gonna be streaming every single Sunday, and the time depends on what server I'm going to and what region it is. I'm gonna try to adjust the timing to that as best as I can. So if you want to, go ahead and leave me some servers I should come to. And then with that being said, I think we've come to the end of today's video. I just edited every single clip I've recorded so far, and I'm at 15 minutes already, which is pretty insane. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the video over here. So let's move on to my outro. I want to thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. If you have any impressive story like this, then leave a comment down below like I said. I know we didn't really do a lot of different races in today's video. My horse is only level 4.5, so I apologize for that. I will try to do better in my next training time video. But yeah, if you liked it anyway, please give this video a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. If you would like to see more videos of mine, all you have to do is click the subscribe button down below, as well as turn on your notifications so you'll never miss out on any videos I post. And with that being said, I really hope I'll see you back either tomorrow in a live stream on Unicorn Forest or on Wednesday with a brand new update video. I hope you have an amazing weekend, and I'll see you guys very soon. Bye!